Chris, what is our fifth main topic today?
Our fifth topic comes from Ian A. Barth. Hey guys. Wow. Guess people are just feeling violent this week.
It's only Tuesday.
A report came out in Variety saying that Ezra Miller was arrested in Hawaii Sunday night due to, quote, disorderly conduct and harassment. Between this and the incident 2 years ago, what do you think this means for Ezra's future career? Thanks and have a great day.
Every once in a while, we hear about, a celebrity, an athlete, an actor, a singer, whatever, who literally has the world on a platter. And they just seem to do everything they can to dice it into fine grain and snort it like cocaine and crap it out their lives. And Ezra Miller seems to be turning into one of these guys. And I hope not. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying it just kind of looks like he's intent on becoming one of these people. So here's a little bit of background. Before the news stories started hitting, Rob, I was telling you about this. Before the news stories started hitting in the trades, the Hollywood Reporter and Variety, I had gotten an email, which I read off to you, from someone that told me about, just so you know, Ezra Miller got arrested. And the way they described it to me was this. It was, he got drunk at this place. He was becoming extremely belligerent, yelling a lot of insulting and terrible things at people, including a woman who's trying to do karaoke. Apparently, what they told me, again, I was not there. Let's be clear about this. I wasn't there. I cannot confirm any of this. All right. I'm just telling you what was told to me. Take that for what it will. And I was told that he was yelling some massive insults at this woman, being really belligerent and harassing, telling her to get off the stage. She was just trying to do karaoke and have some fun. It got to the point that he rushed the stage and physically grabbed the mic out of her hand while she was just up there trying to do it. Some guy yelled at some guy who was doing something else, yelled at Ezra Miller. Somebody asked, and Ezra Miller apparently then went and lunged at the other guy and was held back, stuff like that. Apparently then the people of the facility were trying to tell him to leave. He got belligerent, told them where to go, stuff like that. I was told that the words, "Do you know who I am?" Were uttered. Again, I was not there. I cannot confirm or deny that, whatever. So this was all before the report came out. Then eventually the police were called. The police came and arrested him, took him away. Now, after I had read that, shortly, not long after that, then the official story started to come out in the trades. This is what's written in Variety. This is the account there, which sounds eerily similar to the account I got told to me. According to a post by the Hawaii County Police Department, South Hilo officers responded to a report of a disorderly bar patron on Sunday evening at 11:30 p.m. Police determined that the agitator had become unruly while other patrons sang karaoke and had begun yelling obscenities. Miller then grabbed the microphone from a 23-year-old woman singing karaoke and later lunged at a 32-year-old man playing darts. Miller was arrested and charged on offenses of disorderly conduct and harassment. All right. So, is anybody surprised? Is anybody surprised? Listen, I am, and I continue to be to this day, a defender of Ezra Miller's portrayal as Barry Allen in The Flash. I know he gets a lot of crap for it. I don't care what anybody else says. I like his portrayal as Flash. And everybody mocks the way he runs, right? And to which, whenever somebody brings up, you got to understand how dumb this sounds. Whenever somebody goes, "That's not how you run. That's not how you run." Okay, please, out of all the historical examples, show me how somebody who runs faster than the speed of sound runs. Please show me the proper running technique for breaking the sound barrier and maybe going faster. Oh, no one's ever done it? Then who the fuck are you to say how somebody like the Flash should run? If that's how the Flash runs, that's how the Flash runs. And I stand by Ezra Miller and his portrayal of that damn role. I think he's charming and funny. I think he brings life to that role. I think he's great in the role. That said, why would any of us be surprised? A couple of years ago, another incident happened where Ezra Miller was in a bar, got themselves drunk and hammered, got into verbal altercations with some people, and then outside laid hands on a woman, grabbed her by the throat, and took her down to the ground. Now, as I have no daughters, but as a big brother to two sisters.
Well, it's a human being.
I know. I'm just that's from my own personal experience as a big brother to two sisters, and call it old fashioned. I don't get, maybe outdated senses of whatever. Fine. Call it whatever you want. You don't lay hands on a woman. You don't do that. And, you know, and some people thought it wasn't a joke. It was real. The police, all that kind of stuff. And I was tremendously disappointed in Warner Brothers. And we talked about this a lot at the time, that Warner Brothers did nothing. They didn't put out a statement about it. They didn't ask Ezra Miller to publish a statement or an apology. Warner Brothers' approach to it was, shh, don't talk about it. Jingle some shiny things in front of the idiot audience and distract them with other news. And they did. And this, like, everybody will just forget about it. It's just, shh, let's not address it. That was their strategy for dealing with somebody who clearly was a little problematic in their behavior. And that was their strategy. Is anybody surprised that here we are, not long after, again, the same person in a bar, getting hammered, acting belligerently, acting physically threatening, trying to inflict violence on people. Again, going on stage and forcibly yanking something physically away from a woman who wasn't responding to his demands. Is anybody surprised? And I will tell you right now what Warner Brothers' response is going to be. Shh. They're not going to talk about it. We don't talk about Ezra. They're just not going to talk about it. They're going to pretend like it never happened. They're going to try to sweep it under the rug. And next time he's going to hurt somebody. Next time, because what do you expect when you have somebody who you treat like there is no consequences in the world for them? Look, I'm not trying to pretend what Ezra Miller did 2 years ago was the worst thing in the world. He didn't take a baseball bat to some poor unsuspecting guy in the thing and beat him to within an inch of his life. I'm not trying to suggest that he is. But what Warner Brothers did 2 years ago, when they refused to even acknowledge what happened, they sent a message to Ezra Miller saying, you are above everything. You, my demigod friend, get to live beyond the laws of men. You are not accountable for anything you do. And because there were no consequences, because he was not held accountable, is anybody surprised that here we are again with the exact same thing, with a dude who thinks he is better than everybody else because he's been told he's better than everybody else, who believes the rules don't apply to him because he's been told the rules don't apply to him? Is anybody surprised? And the question is, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen the third time? What's going to happen again when Warner Brothers once again goes, you're good, Ezra, don't even worry about it. We're not even going to bring it up. We're not going to mention it. We're not going to make you make an apology. We're not going to say anything about it because you're Ezra fucking Miller. So what's going to happen next time? And I say this as a guy who has defended him in this role for a long time. And it couldn't come at a worse time for Warner Brothers. Couldn't come at a worse time. They've got Flash, yes, coming up, but they just moved that to 2023. But he's a prominent figure in the new Fantastic Beasts movie that I'm going to go see this week, by the way. And I'm excited to see it. And I think he's been good in that, too.
That already has its own baggage.
Yeah, the movie that already has some significant baggage attached to it. Thank you for pointing that out, Rob. And now, here we are. And to Warner Brothers, I would say, well, this is your own damn fault. You didn't address this situation before. And if you suffer any big backlash now or negative press for your movie, you got nobody to blame but yourselves now. Because you could have addressed this without, I'm not saying they should have pulled him out of the movies or I'm not saying they should have done that years ago, but they should have addressed it. And they didn't. They swept it under the rug. They jingled the keys in front of us, the idiot audience, say, ooh, look shiny, be distracted. And we did. We got distracted. And we just said, oh, whatever. It's just Ezra Miller. And here we are again. And again, I don't want to overplay this again as if he went on that stage and took a baseball bat to the girl with a microphone. I don't want to play it like that's the case. But again, this is now escalating. What's going to happen next? And I really hope, although I don't believe for a second it's going to happen, but I really hope what Warner Brothers does is sit down, get some counseling for this guy, because he clearly needs help. I mean, at this point, I have friends who drink and get drunk, and none of these things that he does has ever happened. He clearly needs help. And I really hope at this point, Warner Brothers sits down with him and says, okay, look, here's the deal. You've got to start getting therapy. You've got to start getting counseling. Because if you don't, we can't work with you anymore. And I just hope something happens at this point for his own good, for the good of the movies that we all like to go and watch and enjoy, and for the good of whoever the unfortunate poor soul is who's going to be in the next bar that Ezra Miller walks into. So I hope for everybody involved, including Ezra, I hope Warner Brothers holds him accountable. I hope they insist upon him getting some counseling, but I don't see it happening because Warner Brothers is the shh, don't tell, which is really strange because when the stuff came up with, I'm forgetting the guy's name who played Cyborg.
Ray Fisher.
Ray Fisher. I almost said Ray Orr.
I know. I was like, I don't even know what they're talking about right now.
That's what I was thinking when I was thinking Ray. I kept when the
Ray Fisher stuff came up, Warner Brothers hired 2 third-party independent investigators, including a federal judge, to take that situation seriously and investigate and blah blah blah. So I'm really surprised that they've taken this different approach with Ezra Miller. I hope they change. I don't expect them to. Rob, you hear about this situation. Nothing any of us like to. And look, I don't like to talk about TMZ bullshit, but this is directly affecting the movies we are getting ready to watch immediately and down the road. What's your take on this whole thing, and what should Warner Brothers do?
Well, I mean, also, he was featured prominently entering the Speed Force at the Oscars as well. So it was really not good. And I think this incident happened on Sunday night, didn't it? Sunday in Hawaii. Look, John, Ezra Miller is in 2 Warner Brothers products that probably cost collectively close to $400 million. And any behavior like this tarnishes those products before they're even released. There is a demonstrable economic cost to his antics. And I think it's got to be remembered. And this is a tale as old as time. You know, they could sing a Disney princess song about actors who get drunk and get in trouble. It's been happening since actors got up on stage thousands of years ago. But when you're dealing with the multinational, publicly traded corporation's product, you need to put a lid on it. That's part of, you've chosen this life, and part of what you're doing is you are representing the product that you're in. And a Harry Potter movie, a Harry Potter franchise film is coming out, and a giant comic book feature film that is the beginning potentially of a franchise that you stand to make a lot of money. And if they make Flash 2, Flash 3, they put your Flash in different movies. I mean, your entire economic future is contingent upon your behavior. Rightly or wrongly, you chose this life. You've got to hold it together, buddy. You have an obligation to your coworkers, your collaborators, your financiers, your producers, to the legacy of these characters that have been beloved for a long time. You took this on, and you have an obligation and a responsibility. And I think all actors need to remember that. You don't get to act this way. And when you do, people got to step in and do what they got to do to protect their investment. Because at the end of the day, you're going to go ruin the work of thousands of people, literally, and the work of a studio this Flash movie is years in the making?
So let me ask you, Rob, what do you think? I admittedly, I'm approaching this thing pessimistically, but what do you think Warner Brothers is going to do about this? Okay,
you're probably right. Nothing. I would say in this day and age, Warner Brothers has to come out. I mean, they set the bail at $500. So it wasn't that, like, he didn't kill anybody. Right. There was no beer bottles broken over someone's head. But I think that he's got to come out, throw himself on the mercy of the court, say he's been going through a lot of stuff, whatever. Say, I profusely apologize, I'm going into alcohol rehabilitation or whatever his problem is, and get therapy and make it public. Because that's what the audience of Harry Potter deserves.
Chris?
The more you know.
You've seen this situation unfolding now. This is the second incident like this one on top of some other smaller incidents. But, like, what's your take on this? And then two-parter, what do you think Warner Brothers should do, and ultimately what do you think Warner Brothers will actually do, if anything?
Well, I mean, it's not a real film, so I have plenty of time to recast The Flash, first of all. And in all seriousness, this behavior is so unacceptable. And Rob and I were talking at the top of the show before we started of how does this happen on the Big Island when you could just be chill at a Hawaiian karaoke and have a nice time. I've definitely drank too much at karaoke, and maybe I go have a moment where I'm sad in the corner or I hug my friend too long. Like, that's kind of what I do when I've had too much to drink. What's really upsetting here is that it's repeated behavior. What's more upsetting is we see this kind of behavior throughout performers in Hollywood, and it constantly is swept under the rug. A similar situation that escalated very, very quickly back in 2018. Emile Hirsch strangled a female executive in a bar to the point where she was unconscious. He was convicted, rightly so. He served 15 days of jail time, 90 days of probation, and was immediately cast in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. There are consequences to people's actions. Emile Hirsch went into rehab. He apologized profusely for what happened, but he still got to be in a huge Hollywood film. Ezra Miller is still going to continue to be in these huge Hollywood films, and that is so upsetting to me. And I understand they might be going through something. They might have an issue with drugs and alcohol. They might have something going on. Everyone is fighting their own personal journey. But can I just say that as a human being on this earth, it is so upsetting to see people constantly rewarded for harming women. It seems like it's not taken seriously at all. And people in the chat are making jokes too about being slam choked. It's disgusting. You're disgusting. So I want something to happen here. I want to make sure that this person does not do anything else. I hope they get the help they need. I do want to think that, like you've said before, you know, someone's worst day isn't their entire character. But if you continue to show me who you are as a person, I want you to get your comeuppance. I want you to atone for the things you've done. That's been the theme of the last few days. Apologize for what you've done. And don't just apologize, but make changes in your behavior, because that's the only true apology, is change behavior. And I hope Warner Brothers doesn't sweep this under the rug and actually take some accountability and tries to set a standard for treating other people well, for treating women well, and treating their fans with some respect too.
Well, another thing, I mean, I really love Ezra Miller as a performer. I thought he was terrific, and we have to talk about Kevin. I thought he was great.
He was really good in that.
But The Perks of Being a Wallflower, I adore that film, and he was great in that too. And I've really liked his presence. I really like him as the Flash, and it bums me out to see this. But it's also like the irresponsibility on display here, especially when there's so much at stake, is especially like as a filmmaker, you don't have control over your actors. You know, when people are off set, and then this happens, can torpedo literally years of work. And it's really unfair to your collaborators to do this to them.
It absolutely is. It's so dismissive of everyone else's hard work when you just decide to cut loose, but then you become a total asshole. It's so disrespectful to everyone else around, not to mention the other people you're literally harming and the harm you're doing to yourself. It's so disrespectful to yourself.
And here's the thing. Warner Brothers is, in the long run, they are doing Ezra Miller no real favors by just letting him get away with
Exactly.
it and not holding him accountable. But you brought up something, Chris, that I do want to address, because I think you're right, but it's interesting. You referred back to when we were talking about Will Smith, about we don't want to judge people. We don't want to judge the totality of somebody's character based on their worst moment. We don't want to do that. But as we were saying in the Will Smith situation, where it's like, this guy's not a repeat offender. There is nothing on record like anything like that happened at the Oscars with Will Smith. This was apparently, hopefully, fingers crossed, an isolated incident. He's apologized for it. He's taken responsibility for it. He's going to be held accountable to a reasonable degree by the Academy, all that kind of stuff. The Ezra Miller situation, this is a pattern of behavior. This isn't like wanting to judge somebody based on their one worst moment. This is now officially a pattern of behavior, and that's only the ones that got made public. So there is clearly something really troubling here. Because I'm sorry, but if I had a friend, I had to do this once, but if I had a friend that was getting hammered and drunk and then started acting violently when that would happen, I would be grabbing them by the scruff of the neck and pulling them aside and saying, you got to make some changes, man. This can't happen. You can't be like this. And with Ezra Miller, this is now a pattern. Once is a mistake, twice is a pattern. And I just really hope that while I do not expect Warner Brothers to do anything about this, they've already shown that they're cowardly when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I love Warner. I'm a big Warner Brothers fan. I got some dear friends at Warner Brothers. But I'm saying their approach to Ezra Miller has been cowardly. It has been, we don't want to deal with this. Let's just make everybody forget about it. Make everything go away. And they're having a big fan event this week for Fantastic Beasts. And but I think their strategy is probably everybody will just start talking about Fantastic Beasts and they'll forget about this. But in the long run, they are doing themselves no favors. They're doing Ezra Miller no favors. And they're not doing the people who Ezra Miller may potentially hurt in the future any favors by just ignoring it. So I hope they change their minds on this. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this situation? Do you think this is all much ado about nothing? Do you think there's a real problem here and Ezra's got to be held accountable for his own good and for the good of the things? Do you think this is a situation Warner Brothers just made themselves by the fact that they didn't make him address this before and didn't address it themselves? Whatever your guys' thoughts are, jump on down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys, with that all down, we're now going to move on and start taking your live comments and questions that you guys have sent in. But before we do that, let's hear from one more sponsor of today's show, the good folks over at Coinbase. We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this video, Coinbase. Have you found yourself curious about getting involved in cryptocurrency, but if you're like a couple of friends of mine who have been really interested in it, they felt kind of overwhelmed by it, like not even knowing how to get started? Well, that's where Coinbase comes in because they make learning to buy and sell crypto simple. Coinbase offers a trusted and easy to use platform to buy, sell, and spend cryptocurrency. They support the most popular digital currencies on the market and make them accessible to everyone. They offer portfolio management and protection, learning resources, and a mobile app so you can trade securely and monitor your crypto all in one place. And that's why millions of people all over the world in 100 different countries trust Coinbase with their digital assets. So whether you're looking to diversify, just getting started, or searching for a better way to access crypto markets, start today with Coinbase. And for a limited time, new users can get $10 in free Bitcoin when you sign up today at coinbase.com/Campea. Sign up at coinbase.com/Campea for $10 in free Bitcoin. This offer is for a limited time only, so be sure to sign up today. That's coinbase.com/Campea. And thank you to the folks at Coinbase for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show.